Good morning. Boy, I woke from some crazy dreams, and I'm going to try to articulate this in a way that makes a fluent story, or if I can. But you know how dreams go, and they're so crazy. But in one part of the dream, and I'll do it in sections because it seemed to be so jumpy. One part of the dream, I was starting a new job, and I was so excited, and I thought, boy, I'm going to do this. And before you know it, I'm kind of left alone, and they had the section that I was working in sort of taped off, so it would limit traffic, but I was still alone thinking, boy, this is odd, my first day on the job, and I'm in a section of this work environment that's taped off and not really knowing what I'm supposed to be doing. But the person that worked there had a little bit of an emergency. So I guess in that aspect, I was doing them a favor. And then me and my daughter, Sunny, but in the dream, she was back to being just a little girl. Now she's a grown woman. We're waiting on somebody to pick us up for a journey back home. And then I run into my dad, and we talk a little bit, and he jumps in a car and starts to go, and then it dawns on me like, wait a minute, I should have told him to let so-and-so know who's supposed to pick us up. So I run behind his car as he takes off, waving my hands, hoping to get his attention. And I do, and he turns right, but he does it in such an awkward way, and he kind of goes up on this little wall and then bounces around and finally gets back down in the parking lot and gets out of the car. And I tell him, I said, hey, and I can't remember if it was one of my aunts, maybe Aunt Dean, that was supposed to meet us. But I tell him, I said, we need this ride. Can you tell her? I said, well, I'll do this better. I'll just take you. Let me be the one. And he was just smiling because he was the one to our rescue type thing. And he takes Sonny's hand, and we walk down a path. Then it goes, we're in a car, and a couple of old acquaintances from the past were in the back seat, and they were measuring the car that was Dad's because they wanted it, and they were going to ask him for that vehicle. And I thought it was weird because I've had dreams of this individual in the past just in passing. In other words, I would walk past him in a mall and say, hey, there's brother so-and-so from this church way back in my probably early 20s. And then, or I would see him in a restaurant or whatever. And then the last dream I had, not counting this one, he was in a coffee shop, and I got the nerve to go up to him and sit down beside him and say, hey, I've noticed we've crossed paths. And I just kind of told him my background story about my wife, my kid, whatever. And he just looked at me and said, this went a lot better than I expected. And our next time we meet will be more substantial. And he used those words, more substantial. And then in this one, he's sitting in the back, going to take Dad's car. And then he starts talking. He goes, yep, first time I asked for a tape measure. And then I made all the measurements. And then I did this, and then I did that, and now I'm going to ask him. But in the dream, although I was talking to him like a person, he was a fence post, him and his wife both. And I thought that was just absolutely crazy. It's amazing to me how dreams can do that. You can have a dream that makes absolutely no sense when you wake up, but in your dream, you never question it. You never question it. It's wild. It's a state of being that is kind of an odd deal with those dreams. I'm trying to remember if there was anything else, and I'm sure there was, because it was just loaded up with dreams. But those are the ones I'm going to remember. I know in dreams, the people that you might put in dreams don't necessarily equivalent to the people you might associate him to in real life. Like if you're having a premonition, it might be something else. So I don't know if this dream about this minister family and them saying in a prior dream the next time we meet will be more substantial, if that means anything or not. I'll think about it, and if I think of more stuff, I'll just add it in another dream document. But for right now, I'll let you go. And you guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day, full of love and grace. Bye.